Yeah, and that's one of the best parts about facilitating these interactive games is that you're absolutely right. The communities get something out of it. There's a participatory activity. There's an emotional response. Perhaps they have a better sense of climate risk. Now maybe they have an idea of what they could do. But equally as important, we get kind of the opposite feedback from that community. Now we have an understanding of the perception of that group. Now we have the ability to say, okay, now maybe we have to work on addressing that perception and seeing like, okay, maybe this group doesn't understand that there's risk for floods in this area, and we need to prioritize that. Maybe this other community, okay, maybe they know that there's riverine flooding potential, but maybe flash floods are a growing risk because of deforestation, because of rapid urbanization, because of changes in heavy rainfall distribution. So maybe if we notice there's a gap in perception on maybe types of flooding, we could address that gap. So we gain information from these activities. Also in terms of action, some of these games allow us to have an output of what these communities feel comfortable in doing. So that's useful for us because we could take those actions and then assess the length of time needed to complete those actions, and then tie those into forecasts potentially. And saying like, okay, for example, if a community needs 2 weeks to clean out some drainage systems before floods, then we might have to focus on that two-week forecast in order to say, okay, well, if we're looking at thresholds within the forecast, rainfall thresholds, maybe the uncertainty at that 2 week time scale now is not high, is too high to trigger action. So maybe that's a target for the researchers to focus on. So now there's a tangible link between action being taken and the quantitative research that's being done at the climate science level and the meteorological research level, saying that this is one of the targets. We need to reach this level of uncertainty in order to make it worthwhile to trigger this action for this type of flood. So again, that's a very complex answer, but it's interesting because the way we go about it is a simplified version of reality. And the communities get something out of it much different than what we get out of it. So we could take the simplified output that the community kind of perceives in one way and could act on in one way, but we could act on it in a completely different way. And if we want, we could re-aggregate it and kind of feed it back into our complex systems. So that's one of the greatest things about this, is that you could use it in different ways. You could use it on different time scales, different levels of complexity. It's very malleable, and it's something that we're super interested in exploring. And that's one reason why we're here, too, at this festival, to explore new ways to integrate visual arts, tonality, music into the work we're doing into addressing climate risk.